The Shifting Sands of Solara. Chapter 1. The Wanderers of Solara. The desert of Solara was a vast, shimmering expanse of endless dunes and golden sands that stretched out in every direction, as far as the eye could see. In the heart of this unforgiving land, the people of the Sundu tribe had learned to survive, moving with the rhythm of the desert winds. They were wanderers, nomads who followed the ancient pathways left by their ancestors, always seeking the oasis hidden among the dunes. But their life in Solara was not easy. Each day presented a new challenge, and survival depended on one thing above all else: adaptation. At the center of the Sundu camp sat Arya, a girl of 16 summers, her dark hair whipping in the wind. Her eyes, a striking amber, reflected the endless sky as she stared out at the horizon. Her mother, Talia, was nearby, weaving fabric from desert plants, while her younger brother, Kale, chased a lizard across the sand, his laughter echoing across Talia the dunes. Called, her voice warm but firm, daydreaming again. "You should be helping the others prepare the camp. The wind is picking up. A storm might be coming." Arya snapped out of her trance, nodding as she stood. She brushed the sand from her hands and glanced at the sky, which had begun to darken with clouds. Storms in Solara were rare but fierce. They could sweep across the desert in a matter of minutes, and without the proper shelter, they could be deadly. "I'll help with the tents," Arya said, though her heart wasn't in it. She often felt out of place in the tribe, while the others seemed to thrive in their nomadic life, adapting effortlessly to the desert's challenges. Arya longed for something more, something beyond the endless dunes. She couldn't help but wonder if there was a world beyond Solara, a place where survival didn't depend on the whims of the wind and the scarcity of water. As she walked through the camp, helping tie down the tents and secure their supplies, she spotted an elder sitting by the fire, his eyes closed as he murmured an old prayer. It was Arkan, the tribe's wise man, a figure of respect and authority. "Arkan," Arya approached him cautiously, "do you think there's more out there, beyond the desert?" The old man opened his eyes slowly, his gaze thoughtful. "Why do you ask, child?" Arkan studied her for a long moment before responding. "Solara is vast, and its sands are ever-changing. Our people have learned to adapt to its challenges, just as you will in time, but there are many ways to adapt. Perhaps the path you seek is different from the one your ancestors walked." Before Arya could ask what he meant, a sharp gust of wind tore through the camp, sending sand swirling through the air. The storm was coming. "Help the others," Arkan said, his tone suddenly urgent. "We must be ready." Arya rushed back to her family, her thoughts of distant lands replaced by the immediate need for survival. The storm was already upon them. Chapter 3. The Journey into the Unknown. The tribe set off at dawn, their once familiar path now obscured by the shifting sands. They traveled in silence, the weight of their situation pressing down on them like the relentless sun above. The heat was unbearable, even by Solara's standards, and their water supplies were dwindling faster than anyone cared to admit. Arya walked beside her brother, watching as the young boy struggled to keep up. His steps faltered more often now, and his cheeks were flushed with heat. "How much farther?" Kale asked, his voice barely a whisper. "Not much farther," Arya lied, offering him a reassuring smile. In truth, she had no idea how far they would have to travel. The oasis that Arkan spoke of was said to lie beyond the great dune a towering ridge of sand that stretched across the horizon. But no one had ventured there in living memory. Arya found herself thinking again of Arkan's words. Asterisk, there are many ways to adapt. Asterisk, what had he meant by that? She had always thought that adapting meant enduring, surviving the desert's challenges, no matter how harsh. But maybe there was another way. Maybe adaptation didn't mean simply surviving, it meant changing, evolving into something new. Do you believe we'll find water? Arya asked her mother as they trudged up the side of a dune. Talia's eyes were focused ahead, her face stern and determined. We have to. But what if there's another way? What if we don't have to live like this, constantly chasing after water, always at the mercy of the desert? Talia glanced at her daughter, her expression softening. We live this way because it's the only way we know. But if you see another path, Arya, then maybe it's up to you to find it. Arya fell silent, her mind racing with possibilities. She had always accepted the tribe's way of life because it was all she had ever known. But what if there was something more out there, something beyond the endless dunes and the struggle for survival? That night, as the tribe made camp beneath the stars, Arya stayed awake long after the others had fallen asleep. She sat on the edge of the camp, staring out at the desert, her thoughts spinning in circles. The next morning they reached the great dune. It towered above them, its crest shimmering in the morning light. The climb was steep, and by the time they reached the top, they were all gasping for breath. Arya was the first to see what lay beyond the dune. Her heart sank. There was no oasis, no hidden paradise, just more sand, endless and broken sand. The tribe stood in stunned silence, their hope evaporating like water in the heat. What do we do now? Arkan stepped forward, his expression grim. We keep moving. There may still be water further ahead. And yet, asterisk, there are many ways to adapt. Asterisk. Arya turned to her mother, her heart pounding in her chest. We need to stop looking for the old ways. The desert is changing, and we need to change with it. Talia frowned. What are you saying?